Here are some newbie tax lien skills that you must have to be able to make this business work. So, when you're starting off in this business, you're going to be wondering, all right, can I do this? That's going to be the biggest question on your mind. First off, can I do this and is it real? So, let's just start with some simple basic skill sets that you need to have. Okay. So, one of the basic skill sets that you're going to need to have is you're going to need to know how to run comps on a property. So there's basics that you need to know getting into this business. And when it comes to running comps, one of the best things you can do is get familiar with the area. So go on Zillow and see what things are selling for in the areas where you're interested in buying your tax lien or tax deeds. The next thing you're going to want to do is get familiar with how the county operates, right? You want to get their list, you want to get their rules, and you want to learn those rules inside and out. So obviously a skill set there is you need to know how to read. Most of us can do that these days. And if you can't, your computer can even do that for you. In fact, a little bit of a thing here. I'm slightly dyslexic. So for me, reading makes me very, very tired. So I actually get the computer to read to me probably most of the time. And most of the modern computers do that. If you're on a Mac, you just go Option Escape. And if you're on a PC, you'll probably have to go ahead and Google exactly how to do that. But it's very simple. Go over those rules and make sure you understand them and write down questions that you have on the rules for the county and then call them and ask them. So that's a super basic skill set, is learning how to comp properties, learning how to research and learn how the county works, because every county is going to have a different list and a different code of how they break it down. So it's going to be up to you to learn how to basically decipher that list. And here's one of the key things to keep in mind is the harder that list is to decipher, the better it's going to be for you, because the more people who see a complicated list are going to be deterred, which means there's going to be more availability for you to make money because less people are going to pursue it. So from there, the next skill set that I would recommend you have is basic understanding of how to use a spreadsheet. Okay. So you don't need to be a wizard with spreadsheets. However, when you're going through this stuff, if you've never used a spreadsheet before, we're talking about basics for beginners, go ahead and just find a tutorial on YouTube on obviously how to do a spreadsheet. Because one of the things that's going to happen is when you're getting these lists, you're going to want to be putting them in a spreadsheet, figuring out how much money you have to get started in this business, which you'll know going in. But there's no point wasting time on properties where the opening bid is more money than you have to spend, right? So some basic stuff there, spreadsheets, essential to understanding this business. So we get a lot of folks coming in who maybe they're completely new to the computer, and that's okay. There's never been a better time to get started, because remember, with real estate, you basically have two options in front of you. Option A is to pay full market value for your real estate. You can basically do that anywhere by talking to a realtor, going on Zillow. You're going the full market route. It's going to be hard to get creative. You'll probably have to ride that appreciation train. And option B, which is why you're here, is to get deeply discounted properties through tax liens and deeds. And that's what we do here for anybody tuning in. I'm Dustin Hahn. I've been doing tax liens and deeds. This is going to be my 20th year in this business. And this channel is all about being dedicated to helping you get started with tax liens and deeds as a beginner and turn into a professional in this business. And we really provide all that. So if you like the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Ask a question in the comments. We're live right now, so you can ask a question there. Joe's saying here in the comments, he's saying, do you advise going to watch an auction to get familiar with what to expect? And my answer to that is absolutely yes. So real estate, for whatever reason, is one of those things where folks just don't practice. They expect to watch a video and go out and get a slam dunk or a home run. Now, the nice thing is that that definitely does happen. But like, think of anything that you've gotten good at in your life, whether it's driving a car, driving a truck, your profession. Pilots don't just read a book and then go out and hop in the airplane and take you across the Atlantic Ocean, right? Do the same thing with this business. So one of my good friends, his name's Brad, he basically, in his first 12 months, he would go to auctions just to learn. He'd set basically hypothetical bids. And then from there, he'd go see and learn. So 12 months, he didn't get anything. And then the next 12 months, he bought $3 million worth of real estate for $280,000. But first he went and he practiced. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% necessary. However, it is a really good way to develop your skill set. Now, another key skill set that you're going to need is the ability to talk to buyers and sellers. Now, with the tax liens, you're dealing directly with the county, so you're not really dealing with the seller. However, one of the key things is obviously negotiation. It's very important because if you're going to sell that property, you want to be practiced. And one of the simplest ways to practice real estate is literally just go on Craigslist or Zillow, find some for sale by owners, talk to the owner, and practice making an offer. Practice making an offer to them that makes you uncomfortable. Practice talking to sellers. That is such a huge skill set to have that you can literally go do right after this video. So and you might even get a deal out of it. If you make 30, 40 offers, then you might get a deal out of it. Because one of the things that we do actually is we actually scoop up a lot of our properties before the tax lien sale. So by doing that, you are speaking with the seller, and that's where negotiation comes in. So some basic negotiation skills are key, and a really good book on negotiating is by this guy, Chris Voss. He wrote a really good book called Never Split the Difference. And he has some really good YouTube videos and a best-selling book. He was an FBI hostage negotiator. So this guy really knows how to obviously negotiate on deals. So I recommend that for sure. And for anybody tuning in, like if you guys want some help with this stuff, there's a link below. I give away a full free mini course that you can literally go buy. Tax Lien and Deed Investing 101. I used to sell this stuff, but now I give it away. And then from there, if you want some help, you can always book a call and we'll be happy to help you do that as well. So picking up these properties pre-auction has worked really well for us. And it's kind of something that keeps you busy in between auctions. So for example, some places might have an auction once a month. Some might have it twice a year. Some might have it only once a year. So one of the things that we'll do in between is we'll work that list in between to get some deals. And that's where that skill set of negotiation comes in. And remember, basic offer formula for offering on a property is get the address and offer 65% of that Zillow value minus the estimated cost of repairs. So that's why it's important as another skill set is to learn how to estimate the cost of repairs. Now, some basic rules of thumb for estimating cost of repairs. So things have gone up. If it is a light rehab, probably around $20 a square foot. If you're in property markets between, I don't know, $100,000 to $300,000. From there, a light rehab could be anything like paint, carpet, appliances, stuff like that. And then a medium rehab could be things like roof, maybe some foundation. That's probably going to be around $40 to $45 per square foot. So if it's $1,000, 45 grand. Full total rehab gut job could be anywhere between $50, sometimes $60 per square foot at this point. So if a property on Zillow shows as 100 grand, then that's going to be generally assuming that that property is in perfect condition. So your offer would be, if it's 65% of the market value and it's a full gut tear down, you might want to just offer them a little bit. So we've gotten free houses before. And what I mean by that is we've purchased houses and then the person had a second house, but with that formula, it would cost too much. So they literally just threw it in with the deal. So those are some basics. Let's see here. Going through these questions, are most of the properties occupied? The answer to that for tax liens, most of them are occupied because that year's tax lien is going to be delinquent. So most of them will be occupied. And that's good because you want your interest rate. From there, with tax deeds, I would say 30% of them are going to be occupied. And then from there, the rest will be vacant. All right. Let's see. Another question here. Do you know if I can go to the tax office and buy properties OTC in Texas without going to the auction? So here's the thing about Texas. Over the counter properties in Texas, generally, there's not a lot of them. And the reason is because Texas has an auction every single month. So generally, what they'll do is they'll just, rather than going over the counter, they will roll that property into the next auction. So Texas, not a lot, but you could definitely start hitting the phones and seeing what is available in that regard. So yeah, a lot of other places though that have like the yearly sales, that's where you'll find those over the counter properties. So once again, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. We got a few folks just joining us, and I'm actually going to go ahead and start going to make some videos. I had to redo the camera setup here. So now we're back in action. We're back going live. Paul, how's it going? Thanks for joining. We're going to wrap it up. Maybe Paul has a question here. Eric has a question. Let's see. How do you make a payment after winning the bid in Georgia? So depending on the county, every county is going to be a bit different, but some of them, like cashier's checks, is a good way to go. Some of them will take cash. Some counties even take credit card. So that's always key before the auction, is find out what form of payment is accepted and find out when the payment's accepted. So some places, they may want you to pay immediately. Some places you may have an hour. Some auctions you might put down 10% and then you pay the rest in 30 days. You can mail them a check. So remember, if you're getting like cashier's checks and things like that, get them in denominations of like, 100, depends how much you have, right? If I had 10 grand, I'd probably get eight $1,000 and then 20, maybe 100 cashier checks to go that direction. So that way you can have change, because they'll send you money back, which is great, but it could take a little while. Let's see. Paul's saying just graduated high school and this is the type of investing. Yeah, good stuff, man. If you're just graduating, like I got into this super young, just a couple years out of high school as well. And it is a really great direction to go into, and just put time into it. Same advice I'd give everybody is put some time in every single day, go through the trainings. Like I said, I got the free book below here. I got these on demand trainings that you can go through, walk you through step by step. And when I started this stuff 20 years ago, I was watching like VHS tapes in my parents' basement, trying to learn how to do this. So we're very lucky now with the internet. We have all of this information at our fingertips. Let's see. Jessica's saying, I can't see the lien list in Florida because could it be because I haven't funded my account yet? It's hard to say. I don't know what's happening in that situation. So once again, best thing to do, call the county and ask them, or simple Google search name of the county and things like that. But it could be because you haven't funded the account, but that shouldn't necessarily matter too much. So that is probably just a simple call to the county is key. So once again, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I really appreciate the support from everybody. Ask questions in the comments if you have any questions there. We always love to answer those, and gives good context for future videos. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that. We really appreciate that. And once again, my whole goal here is to be able to help you guys get this stuff going, because when you get started, it's challenging, right? It's scary, and there's a lot of information out there, but tax liens are still fairly underground when it comes to the grand scheme of things in real estate. So there's 3,300 counties. Every county does things a little bit differently. And Paul's saying, I heard of this type of investing through Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah, that was actually one of the books that helped me quit my job. Like I was working full time, and there were two things that helped me get the courage to kind of quit my job and do this. One was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. Second, good old Anthony Robbins. And I was listening to his 7-day transformation basically over and over again to get the courage to quit my job and do this stuff full time, because obviously it's scary. And there's going to be a lot of people who will probably be against your decision to dive into this full time. And there's always expect people to be against any decisions you make that, depending if you have a spouse or a parent, for the most part, there's a lot of pushback in that regard. So make sure to study it, do it, be able to answer their questions. And once of all, they just want to keep you safe, right? But no great feats in history and life are going to be made when you are comfortable and feeling 100% certain. It's never going to feel like the right time. Eric's saying, when are you coming to Georgia? So I could tag along. So I've been to many auctions in Georgia, and I don't exactly know when we'll be there again, but we'll keep you posted. So Eric, if you're watching this, I actually started like 20 years ago. Right after I got into this, I started doing the live auctions where people would come and join me on live auction training trips and things like that. So we're going to do one of those coming up. And well, you want to be aware of it, just go download the book below, and then you'll be on our email list. You'll get the book, and we'll let everybody know when we're going to go and do a live trip that you can come join us on. It's super cool. We hop in a van, we hit the road, we cruise. It's I call it like the learn by doing model, which is a lot of fun because like when we do one of these trips, we get a small group of students in a van, and some of them buy property. And one of my claims to fame on these trips is I think it's one of the only like real estate trainings where I've actually had students like make money on the trip. They bought a property, they either flipped it that day or they started collecting rent. So I always like to joke that of all the real estate seminars, I've actually done trainings where people have made money, before they left, tooting my own horn there. Let's see. Question: can I buy tax deeds from the attorney directly hired by the county? No. So the county is going to hire an attorney generally to be sending the notices to the homeowners. They'll hire some law firm to send notices. So I've never seen you be able to buy directly from them. Let's see. Jessica's saying, I want to focus on tax liens instead of deeds. What do you think about this strategy? So for anybody who's curious, the best strategy to start, should you start with liens or should you start with deeds? The question comes down to two questions. What are your goals? And this will tie into Paul's question as well, where he's asking how much money do you need to start? So remember, it depends on your goals and how much money. If you have 100 or 200 grand sitting, or even 50, or you don't want to be that active, tax liens are really good for that passive income, for making that interest rate, right? From there, if you need to make quick cash, then deeds are going to be the way to go, because you can buy the deeds for, as little as 50 bucks. So Paul, I don't know how much you have, but get started with some over-the-counter deeds, start calling the county, see what they have left. And remember, guys, the over-the-counter deeds, they take some elbow grease, right? You got to go through the diamonds in the rough. You'll see people in the comments be like, oh, it doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is you just have to call the counties. Like Paul, being young, everybody here. When I was getting started, I'd just be on the phones all day, finding out when the auctions are. How many properties? Do you have any properties left? And I'm compiling a database and a list of properties and auctions that are coming up. I'm getting asked to be put on their email list. I'm getting asked to, I'm asking them to put me on their email list. Even to this day, after 20 years, I still get mail for these tax lien lists, which is pretty cool. And you always know what's coming up. So yeah, as far as money to get started, it just depends where you're at. If you have a lot of money and you just want to sit back passively, then tax liens will be the way to go. If you want quick action, then deeds will be the way to go. Over-the-counter deeds is good. Let's see. Eric's saying, is it more difficult to research land? Is it more difficult to research land to build on homes? Well, land in general is going to be simpler, right? Because you're not having to deal with a structure. Land is pretty simple. Actually, one of my friends in Georgia, his name of the game is he just buys land in Georgia because he knows forestry. And what this allows him to do is he'll analyze how much the timber is worth, things like that. So yeah, good questions. And once again, I do imagine everybody here is new. So these are kind of essential skills and questions. And I really appreciate you asking these questions, because if you're asking them, it means most other folks have them too. Let's see here. Question is, what department at the county should I ask for? So generally the county assessors, ask the treasurer. That'll be the spot who's going to handle the tax deed auctions. So good stuff, folks. Good questions. I really appreciate them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a video for YouTube. This is a video as well, but I always love coming live, seeing everybody's involvement. It's a growing community here. Totally awesome. More questions. If I get a property from a deed sale, how much should I have to pay to have the property ready to sell and cover fees? So remember, when you buy a property, there's going to be like a recording fee of the deed and things like that. It could generally be 50 to $100. Every county will be a little bit different. So just find that out for the county that you're in. So guys, if you want some stuff, if you haven't got the book yet, go get it. Like, it's super good. It walks you through this stuff step by step, all the questions. It is literally a full course on this for free. There's a link below. From there, if you want my help or my team's help, we can build you a custom investment plan. So go ahead below and book a call for that, and we'll build you a custom investing plan and get you started. I really appreciate everybody hopping on. We're going to grow this community, and we'll see you guys in a video coming out here very soon. Paul, Jessica, who else we got here? Everybody, thanks for hopping on. Isaac, Joe, appreciate every one of you. We'll see you soon.